Hello everyone, Mixfant Gaming here. Welcome to my channel. Today we take a look at some more Mech Arena action. And I want to first off start off by apologizing for not having a video out in the last few days. Things have just been absolutely insane and crazy at work. I've actually been pulling in some 20-hour days over the last probably 4 or 5 days, a couple of them. And honestly, I'm just absolutely exhausted. But I had a video set up here, a gameplay from a few days ago that I had meant to post a couple days ago. It was just the finishing off the specialization spree for the Panther, but I never got around to it, and since then a couple things have happened, so I want to begin and start talking about that. I'm going to go over the new mech here, as well as the survey, and when I get talking about the survey, then I'll throw in the gameplay from the Panther, and I'm just doing a little bit extra voiceover on top of it. So I cut out my voiceover from the previous video, and I'm redoing it just with this voiceover talking about the survey. So that being said, let's get right into it here, and I'll throw up on the screen here a picture of the new mech. It is called the Arachnos. It is a spider bot, as you can see, and I know there are a few players out there that I've heard of actually quite worried about the movement of this type of a bot, because if you compare it to something like in War Robots, where we had the Invader, we had the Jaeger, a couple of other spider bots, they are really cumbersome and not easy to maneuver, and I've heard some concerns about Mech Arena about will something similar be happening here? How will the movement of a spider bot work in the game? There are some, for instance, tournament mats that are really tightly integrated in narrow areas, especially going up and down ramps. And obviously players don't want to be using this and getting stuck everywhere. So with that being said, I think Plarium is going to have this kind of somewhat figured out already. I know they are doing some extensive testing in the background. I haven't seen any gameplay of it. None of the YouTubers in the partner program have. But from size wise, I think it's probably going to be about the same size as a brick house. Maybe slightly smaller, I don't know. But as you can see from the videos, the legs don't seem to go out at the sides very much. It's a little bit more straight down. So I think it's going to be able to maneuver up and down the more narrow ramps and the more narrow areas. I would probably surmise that many of the mechs coming in the game won't be much of a greater size than, for instance, something like the brick house. With that being said, the mech is going to have a unique ability called the spider turret. So it's essentially it's a turret that drops and it will shoot the enemies. So from the sounds of it here, it's going to be a stationary turret, and I'm gathering that because of the description here. It says when an enemy approaches, the turret will activate an attack. So it doesn't say anything about the turret seeking out other mechs. To me, I read that as being stationary. So it's going to be something like the cheetah in its mines, where it'll drop a turret. And I think it's probably only going to be one turret. Who knows, it could be like the cheetah mines where you can drop more than one. But it also is a destructible turret. So again, I read that as being able that you can target it and destroy it. So it's going to be pretty interesting kind of that in the game and see kind of the mechanics it adds. As long as it's balanced perfectly fine, I don't see any problem with it. I would hate to have the turret basically be so OP that it's like a railgun shot in a turret format. But so far the devs are pretty adamant about keeping the game balanced and not introducing things that are overpowered. You look at things like the Surge and the Redox that have come out, and the Brick House. They're strong in their own ways, but they're not overpowering in the game. You don't see players wanting to go out and get 2 brick houses in their main hangar, or 2 Surges or 2 Redoxes. Against people, I know I personally like to run variety, and I don't see players so far picking one single bot that they just have to have that as a staple in their hangar. The other thing about this mech that we want to talk about is they mentioned that it is going to have some of the highest energy capacity in the game. So what does that mean? Again, we don't know. We don't have the numbers. It could mean that it's a 24 capacity, just like something like the Guardian. It could mean that it's some of the highest. So maybe it's a 20, maybe it's a 22. And it could very well be higher than 24. The devs have alluded to in the past that, I think they put it out in a question and answer one time on the Facebook, that they are looking at possibly at some point in the future introducing mechs that even have more of an energy, and maybe this could be one of them. Again, we don't know. So I'm sure you've seen it from other YouTubers already. I'm not going to delve into any longer than I already have. But, you know, I hope you enjoyed the little bit of feedback there. Now, talking about feedback, here we go into the thing that was posted, I think it was yesterday. And I want to give credit to Little Miss Treble, who actually posted this on Facebook, because apparently some people got this survey here and others didn't. I personally did not get it, but she did. So it reads, in addition to weapons and robots, in Mech Arena, we are thinking about adding another layer to this combination to progress in. This additional layer would be pilots, who will be adding improvements to the robots and weapons. When thinking about the additional layer, the pilots, what would you expect to see in the game? Now, so before I get into my discussion here, let's just start the gameplay in the background here, and let's just get into it. So, I know there are a lot of players out there who come from War Robots, who when they heard or saw the word pilots, they just absolutely cringed. Now, the reason being War Robots is a completely convoluted, complex mess, and it really all started with the addition of pilots into the game. And I'm sure a lot of people are out there saying, well, you know, if it adds like 5%, you know, durability to a bot or 5% extra damage to your weapons, it's not that big of a deal. And you know what? On the surface, you're right. But as you start adding layer upon layer upon layer, and each layer does a little bit extra, then you start getting to the point where the people who really pay the money to get these things quicker start to completely dominate everybody else on the field. And that's where War Robots is. It's gone from getting pilots to getting, and each pilot would have, I think, up to 7 skills. And then they introduced legendary pilots, where legendary pilots would have a specific, usually OP ability that's either for a specific mech or a specific weapon or a combination thereof. Then they added Titans into the game, and then they added Titan modules into the game, and then they added, I don't even know what else, drones, and then the drone microchips that all did other damage. Now in the last test server, they're talking about motherships and dreadnought, and those will be upgradable, and those will have the slot modules and possibly abilities. So it just, the more layers you add on, A, the harder it is to balance a game, and B, the more powerful you will become as basically a pay-to-win player. And a lot of players who've come over from War Robots into this game, who've actually given up on War Robots, have come over here. They want to just come in, shoot, have some fun, blow some things up, get some camaraderie going with clanmates possibly, and have a good time. They don't want to deal with the BS of all these different layers and complexities in the game. War Robots had a lot of players following from the beginning because of the nature of the playstyle and how it was introduced to the public. Then once management and stuff all changed over there, I'm not going to get into all that, and the business model changed to essentially how can we get the most money out of this game as possible, that's where the playstyle dived off. And players like me who have come over from War Robots into this game, they do not want to see a repeat of that. And Plarium, I know from, since you're talking about you know, pilots, I know in the past you actually had some modules in the game that were now taken out. Please, please, please do not follow the business style and the approach of War Robots. Use the mistakes that they've made and grow upon them. Can pilots work in Mech Arena? Sure, if done right. But don't do it in the sense that you're trying to sell power. Especially right now, you're not even global. You don't have the player base to be doing this stuff. War Robots, when they introduced pilots, I think they're about 4 years old. They were already in global. They had millions of players already. Don't be doing that. You're not global yet. If you want to start attracting people from War Robots, well, make the game different than War Robots. Make it enticing for people to come over. Don't be duplicating what War Robots done. Just because it is quote-unquote working for War Robots right now, don't assume it's going to work for you, because right now, I'm telling you, there's a huge number of players in the community that are absolutely completely frustrated by War Robots. So don't be duplicating a system that players are currently frustrated in. You want to make your game fun, you want to make your game enticing for people to play, and you want to be able to try to get those players who are frustrated in something like War Robots to come over and join the fold. Don't duplicate their mess. I can't say that enough. No, I've heard some people say that, well, if the pilots did things like add, like skins or cosmetic stuff, sure, that'd be great. But I also realize this is a business, and buying skins in Mech Arena might not be viable. It might work. I don't know. Something like Call of Duty, they basically sell skins all the time. But they have a lot of weapons out there, a lot of characters. They skin all those. Every month they come out and they have more skins. Oh, look, I got MVP. More skins for all these items, and it's just an ongoing process. But here, you don't have kind of the variety of the weapons and mechs to probably skin a lot. So be cautious of what you're adding to the robots and the weapons. Only do a little bit amount. Don't go completely crazy and overpowered. So in the back here, we're just going to open up and look at the skin I unlocked, and we will call it a video. So anyways, that is my feedback when it comes to the pilots. Be very, very careful doing this. Don't be trying to set yourself up to be another War Robots, because at some point War Robots is going to fail with their business model, and you're not there yet with the player base to even be doing this stuff. So keep it small, keep it lightweight, and I understand it's a business, you have to make money, and that's perfectly fine, but just don't go overboard. Anyways, so I'm going to call it a video, so I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and until next time, cause some mayhem in the field for me.